Greetings of peace and love, everybody. My name is Ram Hotep, coming back at you again with another episode. On this particular episode, what I want to do is I want to talk about past lives. And I want to kind of talk about past lives from a perspective that kind of like help people to get introduced to the topic of past lives and exactly, I guess, like the origins of this topic and, like where it comes from based upon my research and like why one would even believe that, we could have past lives. Now, before I get into it or whatever, I just want to kind of break down exactly what a past life is, just so people will be totally clear. Now, a past life is basically a memory. Now, when I say a memory, an energetic memory that you possess and have in this life that carried over from another lifetime when you spent another lifetime in a different body, in a different incarnation. Now, when you talk about past lives, you talk about incarnation. And basically, when we're born and we take on a body, we essentially incarnate. So when you get into past lives, you're getting into the concept of reincarnation. And reincarnation is essentially when the energy, the very essence of you, carries over from one body to the next. This will be called reincarnation. So when you talk about past lives and things like that, a person that has any type of a memory that's embedded in their psychology to the point where it can even cause them to have physical reactions from that memory, that is basically what's called a past life experience or a past life memory or whatever. Now, a lot of people are not aware that they're having past life memories. Past life memories could be very subtle to just the way that you like to do a thing. Like, say, for instance, a past life memory could be that you prefer to tie your shoe one way versus everybody else prefers to tie their shoes another way. You may prefer to tie your shoe that way because in a past life, that's how you were taught to tie your shoes. And that memory, for some odd reason, that memory carried itself over into this life. Now, there are many reasons why certain past life memories can carry over into this life. But a lot of people look at past life memories like it's kind of like similar to karma. And a lot of people, they look at karma like a punishment. Now, a past life memory or karma, or whatever you want to call it, is not punishment. No matter how severe it is, it's not a punishment. It's essentially just energy or something, energy that carried over from one life to this life because it was something that you didn't finish expressing, or energy that was not completed. It was an energy that was not sent out into the world correctly in a way that it wanted to be sent out, in a way that it wanted to be demonstrated. So that's kind of like when you start getting into like past life karma. That's what past life karma is. Now, many people, they have deep past life experiences. Some people do. Some people have dreams, vivid past life dreams. And then other people, they're like, I don't think I've never been here before. I mean, I don't really have a memory of really being here. And some people, there are very few souls that are very new, like this is their first time incarnating. I mean, I've never seen one. I do natal charts, and I have a method of getting into telling a person approximately how many past lives they have. Like upon their request, like if a person request this of me, I can give you approximately now how many past lives you had or whatever. So, and I've rarely, to be honest with you, I've rarely haven't seen a person that is just like a new soul that they've only been here once or whatever. I mean, I may, if I can remember, maybe once or twice, but for the most part, most people have been here. Most of us have past life memories. That's why we feel comfortable doing things a certain way. That's why we could be born into a family and you got brothers and sisters, but for some reason you're just totally different from your brothers and sisters. Like, you like to do things different from them. You're just a different person or whatever. And all of that comes from past life karma, past life memory, past life energy. And we are really energetic beings. That's like what we really are or whatever. Before we became physical, we were energetic beings. And to really like help people to understand this, I'm going to kind of like take you just a little bit, just talk about Atlantis. And I want to take you back to the times of Atlantis. And I want to take you back to the times where we were what's called energetic beings. And to really understand this, it's the same concept of a fourth dimensional being. Like when you hear myself and others talk about beings on the fourth dimension and all that type of stuff, that's the same thing as when we were energetic beings. Because during the times of Atlantis, we built the third dimension as energetic beings. When we were in Atlantis, we built this third dimensional reality, or what we call 3D. And a lot of people, they have a hard time really understanding or overstanding and understanding the difference between 3D and 4D. And it's really simple, but people make it way more complex because, you know, it's a lot of stories and stuff out there. And it's simple. The difference between 3D and 4D is 4D is energy, 3D is shape and form. So energy, before it takes shape and form, is energy. It cannot be seen, though it's very real, very intelligent, but it cannot be seen by these physical eyes. It could be seen by third eye, of course, but it cannot be seen by these physical eyes. So the fourth dimension is the energetic aspect, the thoughts. Thoughts are energy. When you talk about electricity, this is energy. Mostly all energy and things that we use as power sources, most of it is unseen, a whole lot of it. Like, say for instance, if you talk about using wind energy. Wind energy is unseen. You can't see wind. If you talk about using electricity, you can't see electricity, but it's energy. So the fourth dimension is energy. Essentially, it's all made up of different types of energies. Light is an energy. So it doesn't matter if you're talking about light, sound, whatever you're talking about different types of energy. So what happened is that we started out on the fourth dimension as energetic beings, and we decided, it was a decision based upon us wanting to experience, we decided to lower our vibration. We were energetic beings. We had to slow down our vibration so that we would become physical beings. And this is what took place. Essentially, this is what was going on in Atlantis. So essentially in Atlantis, the first part of it, when you study the history of it, that's why a lot of people, it's very vague to really get into the history of it, because it cannot really be studied from a physical third dimensional point of view. The first part of Atlantis, to really study the history of the first part of Atlantis, you have to study it from an energetic point of view, from a fourth dimensional point of view, because this is when we slowed down our vibration and became what's called material or matter. So when you start talking about matter and atoms and all of that, all of these things took place. The creation of all of these things took place, or the construction, I should say, of all of these things took place in Atlantis. The concept of an atom it didn't begin in Atlantis. I don't want people to think I'm saying all atoms began in Atlantis. I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is that a group of energetic beings decided to slow down their vibration and become matter. They decided that. So that was a group. But there's other fourth dimensional beings that didn't decide to slow down their vibration. They're still out there in the fourth dimension. So this is a certain group. And this is us. So when you get into understanding soul groups, soulmates, twin flames, when I talk about spiritual networks and soul groups and stuff like that, people are wondering, what am I talking about? Are you in my soul group? Are you in my soul group? Like a soul group, just to kind of like give a person like a brief definition for a person that just now started watching my videos. A soul group is basically a person or a group of people that come from the same soul as you. They come from the same energy or the same soul. So when you start trying to understand the concept of a soul goes back to energy. It takes energy to make the body become real. It takes heat, energy to animate the body. So heat is energy. So your soul is that heat, or some people say ether. Like that's your soul. Like when you blow on your mouth, or if you blow out of your mouth from your hands, you feel that heat. That's your soul. That's that ether or whatever. So that's the real live part of you. The breath is really the real life aspect of you. The breath carries the soul, or the memories and the energy. So the reason why you can remember, the reason why you can do certain things is because of your soul. Most people will attribute a lot of things that we can do to our brain, but our brain was created after the mind. The mind is older than the brain. And to really understand the mind, you have to get into understanding the soul, because the soul governs the mind, because the soul is the governor of memory. So this all took place in Atlantis. We slowed down our vibration. We became material beings. Now, we didn't always look like this. We went through many different phases to get to the point that we look now, the way that we look right now. Like at one point, some people heard me talk about this. You had women that were what you would call hermaphrodites. They were called hermaphrodites. These women, though they had female body parts, they also had male body parts. Then you had some men that were hermaphrodites. These men were male looking, but they had a few female body parts. And this is because when we first started these experiments, because these were experiments to get to the point of creating the physical body. So you have to remember, when we first started these experiments, we had to slow down our vibration. We had to slow down our vibration, and a lot of it was experimental. So when we first started it, we came like a being might have came out with breasts and say for instance a phallus. Then another being might come out with bare chest or flat chest and a big ass, you know what I'm saying, and a phallus or something like that. So I mean, different beings look different ways, and all these different types of beings kind of set the mold and the blueprint for the physical being. So like say for instance a being that was born with 6 fingers, 6 toes. Being that's born with 6 fingers and 6 toes came from experimentation of certain chromosomes, as a master teacher Dr. York talks about, and other master teachers talk about the chromosomes, and how beings that have 6 fingers and 6 toes have like 48 chromosomes, but a being that has like supposedly normal being that has 5 fingers and 5 toes has like 46. So it just goes into understanding how we did that though on an energetic level from the 4th dimension, and that's what scientists are not really ready for, and that's what they're not really talking about, because they don't all the way know how to prove it, because they haven't all the way unlocked and mastered quantum physics. But once we master quantum physics, which is something that we mastered in Atlantis, of course, because we wouldn't be talking about this right now. If we didn't have a mastery over a 4th dimensional science of quantum physics, which is a 4th dimensional science, we wouldn't be able to talk about this right now. In order to get any memories from Atlantis, like say for instance those people like that want to know more about their past lives in Atlantis, you have to be a channeler to be able to really channel the first part of it, because the first part of it didn't start out physical. Second part of it was very physical in Atlantis or whatever. That's when we became material beings, but the first part of it, straight up energy coming from the 4th dimension. So Atlantis is a very, very interesting period. I mean, this is the period when we really kind of like got caught up into this physical thing. When we started, I mean, first it started out we were breatharians. We were physical, but we were breatharians, so we weren't as dense. Then we started eating more. You know what I'm saying? And the more we did on a physical level, the more we lowered our vibration, slowed down our vibration, and that's what created the 3rd dimensional reality that we live in today, based upon us being scientists and slowly but surely slowing down our vibration to a point where we started, say for instance, when we were in our pristine state, when we were in our highest state, we didn't experience lower vibrations like hate and stuff like that, because we weren't dealing in the same polarity. So we didn't experience lower emotions. I mean, and if we experienced them, say we did experience them, we had total control of that energy, because we knew that emotions was just energy in motion, like emotion. And we see the energy, and then you see the E, and then you see the motion behind it. So it's just energy in motion. We learn how to deal with that energy from the 4th dimension or whatever. And even while we were slowly but surely getting into the 3rd dimension, we were still more of a pristine being. I mean, we didn't eat. We were still breatharians. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. But then over time, we began to eat. And then we began to eat. We began to destroy the earth more, because now we have to eat. So now we got to destroy in order to get more. So this is how the earth got to the point where it's at today, beloveds, is the fact that we lowered the vibration. We did it. We lowered this vibration of this ball that we call earth, that started out as a 5th dimensional creation, and it slowed down now to a 3rd dimensional entity because of certain energetic beings that decided to slow down, to lower their vibration and to slow down their vibration. Now the real life physical part of Atlantis, because it's different aspects of Atlantis. Like I said, the first part of it is very spiritual. Like when you study in the Emerald Tablets of Tahuti, which I'll talk more about in another video. When you study the Emerald Tablets of Tahuti, you'll find out that you'll see the spiritual aspect of it, which was going back past like 50,000 years ago. But then when you get up to about this 49,000 year point, that's when we started to fall, about like 49,000 years ago. And that's when it kind of changed. And the reason why is because that's when the Martians, or the beings from Mars, came to this planet. And the Martians were very, very skilled, technologically skilled, but very physical. They had already reached the point in their evolution where they became physical. And the Martians were ruled by more of a left brain type of mentality. You know what I'm saying? So they brought a lot of the physical, going out to get, creating synthetic products and synthetic things that humans really don't need. You know what I'm saying? Helping us, or causing us to look outside of self more. So if you want to really understand like how we got into this point and why people aren't spiritual and why we can't get it right, is because we always look outside of ourselves. The more you look outside of yourself, the harder it is to get it right. The more you begin to look within yourself for solutions, the easier your life becomes. So the Martians, they brought that type of mentality to this planet, and that's when we really fail. That's when we begin to experience our first nuclear wars. Like, how do you think the Middle East got like that? The Middle East wasn't always a desert. At one point, the Middle East was like kind of like a rainforest, but we began to experiment with nuclear weapons, and we began, especially over in that area. So when you start reading about the Anunnaki coming to this planet and all of that type of stuff, all of that stuff happened once the beings from Mars opened the portal and the gateway for a lot of the lower energy to come to this planet. So like the beings from Mars, they may be really intelligent because they're left-brained. They may be very logical, but they didn't have that right brain aspect on lock or whatever. So they came and corrupted us, kind of like when they came to this planet or whatever. They made us very left-brained, very linear. And that's how we got to this point today, beloveds, is because of certain beings that came here that we begin to look up to and look at as being advanced just because they had a different way of doing things. Like, say, for instance, some people need to watch TV to find out about the news. That's not the only way to find out about what's going on this planet. There's ways to remote view. You have a system set up in you to where you can remote view. And if you tune in hard enough, you're eating healthy, you can remote view in on any situation that's going on this planet, because this planet has a grid similar to our internet that you're connected to. You can channel this energy in through your crown chakra. You can connect to anything, beloved, but you just have to believe it. You can communicate with anybody, but you just have to believe it. So they took that concept and then created a television. So now you have to watch news on TV. This is basically what these so-called fourth dimensional beings did that lowered their vibrations and came to this planet. Because you got to remember, some fourth dimensional beings are physical, and then another group of them aren't in need of physical reality, because within the fourth dimension, there's degrees. Just like on the third dimension, some human beings need food to live and eat, and some human beings don't need food to eat. To live. Like, they don't need to eat food to live or whatever. They just breathe to live. So you have different degrees of a third dimensional being or physical being on that level, and then you have different degrees of a fourth dimensional being where some are in need of bodies and the others aren't. So the Martians really slowed down our vibration. They really brought that whole energy over to where we start to go out and get. So when you hear about the fall of Atlantis and you really think about that you understand the concept of that came from basically us becoming more linear and left-brained, lowering our vibration to a point where we destroyed the planet. Then Atlantis eventually fell. Then we lost the knowledge of everything because we had to lose the knowledge of everything. Mother Nature had to make us forget, because we would have destroyed this whole planet 50 times over. So we had to lose the knowledge of everything. And then now we're in a phase where we're like in a renaissance phase where we're getting all of the knowledge back. But what's important, and what I'm going to shut this video down with, when you understand past lives in Atlantis, something that's very important is that it's a group of beings like the Indigo Children, the star seeds in general, like those beings that's been coming to the planet since like 1972 and after. Your Indigo Children, your Flower Children, your crystals that's been coming to this planet. A lot of these beings, beloveds, came from Atlantis. Like all the way up into your crystals, all the way from your Flower Children, which starts around 1972, all the way up until about 1998, 99, 2000. All of these beings, all these group of children that were incarnated around this time, most of them, 90% of them, were from Atlantis. Your soul was from Atlantis. And the Ascended Masters, I did a video on Ascended Masters for those people that want to know more about it. The Ascended Masters held up the reincarnation process for those particular souls that were in Atlantis for a certain period of time, which was this time. So a lot of the children that are being born right now have not been on this planet since Egypt or Atlantis. Egypt and Atlantis kind of are similar when it comes to soul groups and stuff like that. So a lot of beings that been on this or are coming to this planet are new. Never been to this planet since Egypt or whatever. So very important, because you have a group, and that's most of the children right now. And then you have what's called the baby boomers. Those group of souls in the group of elders that are over them. There are elders in the physical because they're older than us, but their souls are younger. Their souls are younger. And this is important. I'm pointing that out because the indigos have a more mature soul when it comes to understanding spiritual topics and spiritual knowledge than the baby boomers do. And what that has done is, and those people that were born prior to 1972, what that has done, now I'm not saying that's every single person, because there are people that were born in 1972 that kind of came early, star seeds and higher advanced beings that came in bodies from Atlantis and things like that, more mature souls that came earlier. But for the majority of beings or whatever, most of these beings, guys or whatever, like as far as like the baby boomers and stuff like that, people that were born in the 60s, 50s, and 40s, these are new souls. They're not very mature, and that's why they need like religious systems and stuff like that set up. See, they need that. They need those religions because they need to go out See, they're more like going out to worship. They need something to look out, to look up to. They need to look up. You know what I'm saying? They're always looking up to something, like a reptile. You know what I'm saying? Because they have more of that reptilian trait. Whereas the beings that come from Atlantis, that are just now starting incarnating after the 70s, we are more of a advanced group when it comes to our soul. So a lot of things about the Matrix we don't like. So that's why the Indigos came out a lot, like really, really radical, because they knew how Atlantis was. See, we have memories in our soul about how things were, and then we come to this Matrix and we're like, what the fuck is this? So it's like, we're like, what the heck? Why did I choose to come here? I don't like it here. So it's like, you're ready to leave and all that. And the thing is that the reason why you don't really like it here is because you lived on this planet at a different time where technology was better. People were way more spiritual. You didn't need to go out and work a job. This is a prison planet. It's slavery. You know what I'm saying? So you need to go out to do everything. That's the bottom line. It's not, intelligence isn't promoted. Being self-sustaining isn't promoted. Being like a cooperative, working with everybody else, like working together to make it, isn't promoted here in the Matrix or whatever. So a lot of the indigos and crystals, they just feel out of place or whatever, feel really out of place. And that's creating a divide here on this planet. It's creating a divide here on this planet. And that's what's causing a lot of the drama, like when it comes to like this thing about some people want to be religious. You got half people that want to be more religious. You got another group of people that want to just be more spiritual and free spirited and bohemian. And these two groups are clashing. And this is due to the age gap and the separation or whatever between the souls. So that's what it's really going into. Like, an indigo cannot sit in a church. An indigo can't really go to a masjid and really feel comfortable. An indigo can't go to a synagogue and feel comfortable for a long period of time and feel free. They would have to dumb down themselves. They'll have to make themselves accept the doctrine. You know what I'm saying? But they wouldn't feel good about it. Really wouldn't feel good about it. So you got these group of souls or whatever, just the crystals and the baby boomers, and they're kind of bumping heads or whatever. So, and the remedy to this really is just both groups understanding different levels of maturity. The indigo children are more ADD and things like that, and can't sit still and aren't conventional because they're from a different time. They're from a time where things were vibrating a lot faster. So if you came here and things were really slow and murky, and you came from a time where you were vibrating faster, when you get ADD or get some type of mental disorder, in order for you to dumb down yourself to function, that's what's going on with a lot of the indigos and crystal children. So that's why I really don't support mental illnesses and diseases. I believe that we just need to get back to herbs and nature, and we can cure anything. And we have to begin to vibrate faster, because we're going back into fourth dimensional reality, but it's slowly happening. So right now we're in the aspect of fourth dimensional reality where it's based on your thoughts. Some people are thinking on 3D, or they're thinking on the lower level. You know what I'm saying? You got people that's thinking on more of an overstanding. They're on 4D. So a person that's on 4D, they're thinking about the outcome of what's going to happen when they go to the store and come back, versus a person that's on 3D, they're just thinking about going to the store. They don't think about what's going to happen when they get there and what's going to happen when they get back. See what I'm saying? They don't plan their trip from the store, go to the store, shop, and come back. They don't plan that in the future. So therefore, they're operating on 3D because they become a victim to time and a victim to their reality. A person on 4D plans their reality. So that's the main difference or whatever. You plan it from the 4D, and then you live it. And then when you see it manifest, you're like, wow, it actually happened the way I planned it. That's when you know you're living at 4D. And that's how the indigos, the crystals, and all the star seeds in general are really used to living. We're used to living on that type of doctrine, on that type of paradigm or whatever. So that's going to do it for me. Just want to put a little bit of information out about past lives and things of that nature. We all have past lives. We all have energetic patterns and tendencies and things that we have, like say for instance, we all attract similar situations into our lives, like broken records. Like you wondering why you keep meeting that same dude, why you keep getting that same job. You know what I'm saying? Why are you always attracted to that certain color? You know what I'm saying? Like, people wonder these things, and it's because you have an energetic past life memory. Very key here. And it shapes your reality now to a point where it's called karma. You bring over so much of this energy that it goes and begins to create your reality now because of the karma that you brought over from the past. So that's why it's important to understand your past lives and just to understand your energetic patterns. Like, when I say understand your past lives, you might not understand exactly what happened, who you were, what kind of shirts you got, you used to like wearing and stuff like that. It's not, see, people get so material and mundane. And it's not really about that. It's about understanding energetic patterns. So, you know, like if you say, for instance, if you just wonder why are you attracted to fat women? You don't know why. Like, why am I attracted to fat women? Maybe you're attracted to fat women because of some type of energetic pattern. It's something about an energetic pattern within you. It's something within you. Is it low self-esteem? You know what I'm saying? It could be anything. You know what I'm saying? Is it feeling sorry for women in general? Maybe you're doing it because of that. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, why am I feeling sorry? And then as you start to go deeper and deeper and delve deeper into it, that's when you'll get to the root of the energy. So you'll find out your problem is not really you like fat women. Your problem is the fact that you have some type of a low self-esteem issue that you need to cleanse and you need to heal, and then therefore you can begin to love yourself more, and then you'll begin to get the type of women that you like. Your problem is not that you like thugs. That's not your problem. You know what I'm saying? Your problem is the fact that you want a strong male figure because you didn't have a father there, and you want a man that you can respect. You know what I'm saying? So that's, you know what I'm saying? See, you're going to the root of it. You're going to the root of the problem. So that's what the beginning phases of really understanding your past life energies and your past life memories. Now, a lot of the crystals and the indigos and stuff like that, see, they have past lives that go all the way back to Atlantis or whatever. So they have a lot of energy in them that's new to this planet. And that's why I really started making a lot of my videos and stuff, because I want to help out a lot of the crystals and indigos, because a lot of the things that crystals and indigos experience, society doesn't talk about it. It's not documented. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you got a lot of people that say, for instance, they jump on homosexuality and they say, oh, homosexuality is wrong and God is against it and it's wrong. And they get into all this religious thing, but they don't understand energy, tendencies, and astrology and past lives. And when you look into Atlantis and you start to research Atlantis, you'll find out that you had same sexuality was very, very rampant in Atlantis or whatever. And regardless to how it was demonstrated or how it was done, we're not talking about that. We're just talking about the concept of the energy patterns. So a lot of the indigos are coming back with that type of mentality. So you hear it in the songs and in the music. My girl got a girl. You hear the girl saying, I'm gonna get my girl to do this and that to you. She gonna have her girl go down and do X, Y, and Z on you while she does X, Y, and Z on you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the girls is teaming up on guys, you know what I'm saying? And then two guys teaming up on girls. It's like all kind of stuff going on because of the fact that this is how the energy, like this is the type of spirits and souls that were in Atlantis. And it's all of this is coming back to the planet. So society, they don't have stuff about this in textbooks. They don't really have anything about how to deal with a hermaphrodite in a textbook. They don't have anything about how to deal with a being that may possibly feel like he's getting contacted by extraterrestrial. They don't know how to deal with the fact that a little kid feeling like he saw a UFO and he wants to know more about it. See, they don't have a lot of things that, you know what I'm saying, were going on in Atlantis is not documented in the society anymore. So it's causing a big problem. It's causing a big problem, man. I'm putting this video out to bring balance so that society can really start to accept the fact that there's some different beings on this planet, like these young people, some different beings on this planet, and you're gonna have to embrace the difference in them and really begin to accommodate. Like, society is going to really have to be able to shape itself so that it accommodate these new type of beings. You know what I'm saying? Like, say for instance, there's a group of beings that don't like eating meat, and it's like every restaurant, they sell 70 to 80% meat. They cater towards the meat eater. We have to change that. What about the vegetarian? There's a lot of indigos, they just don't like eating meat. It's more prevalent in the indigo than it is like in the baby boomer. Like, you have more vegetarians, to me, from what I've witnessed, and like the indigo and the crystal categories that you do like in the baby boomers. Like the star seeds, they already know. It's like it's ingrained in them. So just putting this information out, because if you are a star seed, I mean, you may have had a past life in Atlantis. You know what I'm saying? And that may be why you're so different, you know, why you're so unique, why you look at things so outside of the box, you're so eccentric. It's mainly because you probably had a past life in a time where life was different on this planet, where we thought about things different. We thought about things from more of a communal standpoint. So we were more clean and doing things. We didn't waste and litter trash on the streets and stuff like that. Like, we were just a more clean, pristine type of group. And then we've slowed our vibration down. So to those crystals and indigos, it's your job to heal this planet. That's why you were born with Saturn and Virgo. Like the majority of the first indigos that came through, that's the beginning to mark the sign of the first indigos coming through, was when Saturn went into Virgo back in like 1979. That's when the first indigos started coming. So you were born to heal this planet. You were born to balance this planet. So take up your job and do your work. Thank you guys for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed this segment. And until we meet again, I'll leave you in peace, love, and light.